Hey, Daan here, and in this video I am going to explain exactly how you can pick a niche as an accountant. So if you checked out my last video, I explained what the benefits are from niching down if you are an accountant with certain areas, mainly with marketing and advertising. It has a very big benefit. But of course, then the next question is, how do I actually pick a niche, and what are the things that this industry needs to have before I can actually pick and go into the industry and make a lot of money from niching down. So in this video, I'm going to explain the few things, the 8 things that you actually need to have if you pick a niche, the 8 things that you actually need to do if you are going to pick a niche. So before we dive in, I will quickly introduce myself. My name is Daan and I'm the owner of Accounting Kings, where we work with accountants to help them get more higher revenue clients in a way where we only profit until you do. We spend about $50,000 on ads per month. It works really well, just so that you know that the advice that I'm giving is trustworthy. Now, without further ado, let's dive right in. So point number 1 is look at your current clients. So if you want to pick a niche, it's very important that you have experience in it. And if you just look at your current clients, you can sometimes already see, hey, I already have, as an example, 5 trucking business clients, or I already have a few clients in construction or roofing companies. So by looking at your current clients, you oftentimes already find that the majority of the portfolio of the clients that you already have are actually in one specific industry or in a sub niche. So this can directly give you a lot of insights because you already literally know exactly what you can do for this industry, which will make niching down literally 10 times easier, because there are so many steps that you don't have to do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel with certain niches because you already have experience in. So the easy way to pick a niche is just look at your current clients, look at what you already have experience in, and from the current clients you already have, you can just find some golden nuggets, some industries that you actually like working with. Then number 2, do they have money? This is a really important one. This may is a little bit of obvious to you, but for example, there's this story where a really good business owner, was selling his services to unemployed people to actually get them a job. And although the businessman was really good, and this is actually a real thing, a real good businessman helping people get a job, but the thing is, his audience, his niche, doesn't have money because they are unemployed. So you need to make sure that your industry has money, and it doesn't have to mean that they need to be multimillionaires, but they at least need to make a little bit of money to reinvest, right? They need to be able to actually take some money aside and put into your services. That's number 2. Then number 3, is the niche big enough? So you need to have at least 30,000 people in the niche for it to actually be scalable and profitable. So some people think that if they niche down even more, that it's a really good thing for them. And in some ways it can be beneficial because your message will resonate even more with them. And your sales process can be even better with them, and even your services can even better if you niche down more. However, at some point there's a big gap in actually scaling. So as an example, you can start with roofing companies and then later on scale to construction. But yeah, you need to make sure that if you actually pick a niche, that there are at least 30,000 people in there, so that you don't have the problem where you are approaching the same people. So let's say that there are only 2,000-3,000 people in your industry, in your niche that you are picking. Then at some point you've run out of people to message, you've run out of people to show your ads to and to approach for your services, which at that point you cap really fast, and it's very hard to actually scale. So at least 30,000 people in your niche before you dive in. Then number 4, is your market, is your niche growing? So you need to make sure that, of course, you are going to scale. Let's say that you pick a niche and it has 30,000 people in it. You want to stay in that niche for as long as possible because that's very profitable. But if your niche is growing from 30,000 with 2,000 people every single year, then at some point your niche is actually too small to be profitable. And if you have a big portion of the whole niche in your portfolio, you really grew your business, at some point you will see your clients leaving because your industry is literally shrinking. Example of this is where someone can work with newspapers and it can be the best businessman in the world, but if the actual niche is shrinking, you will still not be able to actually make millions and millions and millions and millions in this industry because you cannot scale. The industry is actually shrinking. So I wrote down market growing. It can also be stagnant, of course. That's also fine. But ideally, the market is growing. Like, for example, I work with accountants, and we all know the market is not growing for anything. It's a little bit shrinking every now and then. But there are also a lot of new people coming in that actually want to start their firm. So then interests and experience. So of course you want to have some interest in the industry that you work with, right? You don't want to work with dental practices if you hate going to the dentist and if you are a little bit afraid of going to the dentist and you don't like the industry. So you do want to pick an industry that you are at least a little bit interested in, you have a little bit of affinity to it, and also of course experience. So if you already have experience in a specific industry, as an example, you have experience working with rental property owners and you are interested in it, it's not that you are a raving fan, but you have some interest, then it's totally fine to actually pick the market. There's a lot of money to be made there. If there are more than 30,000 people, it's a great fit, and you will also have a good time working in the industry. So you also need to like the people that are actually in it. So you need to realize that if you work with restaurants, it's a whole different type of person than if you work with law firm owners. So you need to make sure that you also are aware that you also need to like the people that work in it. Don't just like the actual business model, but also like the people that you will be working with. Then number 6 is competition. And I wrote underneath there, this actually can be good. If you find a niche of 30,000 people and there's literally no competition, it just simply means that there's not enough money to be made. If you pick an industry and there are no sort type of gurus or influencers in the industry, nobody is making content about delivering your service to that industry, nobody's advertising to deliver accounting, bookkeeping and tax and CFO services to that industry, then you already know, hey, this is not a good thing. And this is simply because there is not enough money to be made in this specific industry. So there needs to be some form of competition and that's a good thing. And of course, you also don't want to be in a situation where everybody is in the industry and you already know and you already heard from hundreds of people, not just a few, but so many people. Okay, well, this niche is so crowded, it's not doable anymore, unless you find a new way to approach those people. But no, there needs to be a good, healthy form of competition before you actually dive into the niche. And then number 7, easy to find. This is an important one because even if you have 30,000 people in the industry, but there's no way for you to actually find them, it becomes really hard to get clients. So if you work with an industry that is just not active online and you are also not able to mail them, then there's no big scalable way to actually get in contact with them. So if you pick an industry, you need to make sure that if you go on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, or if you just go to other online channels, Google for example, that you will be able to actually find them, because otherwise it's very hard to get clients for your accounting firm. And then last is enough problems to solve. This is the 8th point. So if there are no problems that you can solve, then there's also not a lot of value you can deliver. So as an example, construction businesses, they oftentimes have a lot of problems with cash flow. They have a lot of problems with bidding on specific jobs. So there are a lot of problems that they have which you can solve, which is a great thing. A lot of medical companies, they have issues with medical bidding, which you can solve. So there need to be problems that you, of course, can solve. And if you work with industries where, of course, they have needs for bookkeeping, tax, and accounting, but and you can still make money from it, don't get me wrong. But if you have a decision where you have 2 niches you want to pick and one has bigger problems to solve, then I will go with that one industry, simply because there is more money to be made, because you can actually deliver a better service, more services, right? You add more value, but also in terms of ads and marketing and outreach, there are actually more pain points that you can touch on. So yeah, those are the 8 things that you actually need to check on. There's a quick checklist when you are going to pick your niche, and make sure that you also remember, when you are picking a niche, you're not marrying a niche. You don't have to stick with it for the rest of your life. Of course, you need to be dedicated, and it will take some time before you know the language of the niche and you know how to actually work the niche in your benefit. But you also do need to remember that it's not a decision that can never be undone, right? You can, of course, switch niches. It's not something that I recommend, because you want to be in a situation where you are the leading person in the industry, and it of course takes a few years. But yeah, you don't have to marry a niche. So I really hope that this little checklist here gave you some insights and a quick step-by-step process of picking a niche. Again, if you are going to do marketing, I really recommend you to go niche, because it has a lot of benefits. I'm not saying that general marketing will not work. There's still a time and place to do general marketing, but niching down can be very beneficial. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it so that the algorithm will push it to more people, and that more people can benefit from this content. Of course, subscribe so that you do not miss any other videos, and leave a comment if you have very specific questions. Also, if you are an accountant and you want to get more better clients that you enjoy working with more, but you don't really have the time or the expertise to do it, or you don't like to do the marketing, then there are 2 links in the description. The first link, you can click on it if you want to figure out how I help accountants in a way where I only profit until you do. And the second link, you can click on it to join our free Facebook community. You don't have to do any of that stuff. I don't really care. I just want to, give you the option. And if you decide not to, that's totally fine. I just want you to learn something from the video. So again, thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next video.